What's going on, guys? Happy New Year and welcome back to another video on Buy Sell Cars TV. Today's going to be a really good video. It's a topic and a question which I get asked all of the time. How do I start buying and selling cars? We are going to be covering 5 different areas. So we're going to talk about educating yourself, how to get set up as a car trader, buying, the skills you're going to need, and selling. And by the end of the video, if you are someone who is completely new to this business and wants to know how to get into it and start making a bit of extra cash, or you're looking for a career move, then hopefully this video will give you a bit of guidance and some tips to help you get started. So let's get on with the video, guys. Okay, so let's talk about point number 1, which is education. Educating yourself is so important in this business. If you don't know what you're doing, it's very dangerous and it's very easy to lose a lot of money. It's really important that you start learning about the types of cars you're going to be looking to buy and sell, looking at that market as well. And what I mean by that is just going online, even just looking at how many of those cars are for sale in your local area, maybe within like a 40-mile radius, keeping an eye on how long cars are advertised for. Do they sell quickly? Are they hanging about for a couple of months? Looking at the prices as well, seeing if they're not shifting. Are dealers reducing prices, or what's the average price you're seeing these cars advertised for? But also, what's really important is you do your homework on the common faults of the types of cars you're going to be buying. So for example, if you're looking at a Volkswagen Golf automatic gearbox, 2005 car, 2010 car, these cars come with a DSG gearbox, but they are known to have their issues and they can be very costly to repair. So it's important to learn the common faults on the cars, because if you are buying a car and are not aware of some of the costly repairs involved, you could be making a big loss on a car rather than a profit. It's also worth having a look at the legal side of things, so you have an understanding of the rights that you have as a car dealer and the rights your customers have. This is very, very important. Cars have their issues, cars do break. You sell a car, things go wrong. So it is important to know where you stand when these things do go wrong and how you're going to deal with them, so you know what your rights are and what your customers' rights are. So it's very, very important to educate yourself and do all your homework before you start getting into this business. The second point is getting set up to be a car trader. So what does that entail? It depends on what you're looking for, what your outcome is, but I'm just going to go over a few of the basics of what I really think are necessities to help you get started in this business. You're going to need trade insurance, so my advice for that is just speak to a couple of brokers, give your details across and let them do their work and find you the best possible package that's going to suit you. The next thing you're going to need is trade plates. So to obtain these, you're going to need your trade insurance to apply for your trade plates. But what this is, it's like a number plate effectively, and you place it on the front and rear of your car so you can legally drive your cars from A to B without getting stopped by the police all the time, because your cars will be coming up as not taxed, potentially not registered. So you're going to need these to maneuver your cars around. Once you've got your trade insurance in place as well and your trade plates, you can start looking into auction houses. So for example, I buy my cars from BCA auctions. You can buy your cars from wherever you choose to, but in this instance, I had to provide my certificate of trade insurance to make an account with these guys. So this is going to enable you to look at those cars coming in from the trade, coming in from We Buy Any Car, other vendors, other main dealers. So it's another avenue for you to buy stock. And the last thing you're going to want to look at as well, now this will vary on the individual, whether you want to be a sole trader or a limited company. That's something that you're going to make a decision for yourself or what you think is best on your situation. So those are the main points you're going to need to get set up as a car trader. Now, once you've got all that set up, you're ready to start buying. So my advice is find your niche and become an expert. The reason I say that is because when you're starting off, you're going to make mistakes. So don't get carried away and start buying anything and everything. Do your homework, know your car, find your niche, become an expert. If you know that car in and out, when it comes to buying, you'll be able to spot a good one from a bad one. If you do buy a bad one, you'll know how to repair it and all the costs involved. So start off simple, start off niche, and really become an expert in those cars. Another good point is look at cars which have got a very good service history and a good MOT history. The reason I say this, because when you're starting off, again, you're going to be learning, you're not going to know everything about the cars. So by buying a car that's got a fantastic service history and a good history of MOTs, it's going to eliminate risk. You're less likely to buy a bad car if all of these things are good. So you're only going to be helping yourself get into the business, learn about cars without getting stung badly. So that's just another point to think about. And lastly, on this specific point, I would probably advise buy cars privately to start with. So don't go to the auction straight away, unless you're going to a physical one, you know, where you get to see the car. But I would still probably stay away from it initially. So I'd recommend just looking on your Auto Trader, your Gumtrees, your eBays, Facebook Marketplace even, to try and find cars for sale where you can physically go view them, look around them, test drive them, check everything in your own time to make sure you're buying the right car. And even if that means you're not making as big margins straight away, just see it as a way that you're learning, you're training yourself up, getting yourself ready. So when you do have more knowledge and expertise, you can go to the auctions, you know your cars, you can buy them and make more profit. Because if you don't know a lot about cars and you do go to the auctions, it's very easy to buy something, you know, and get stung, and you're going to end up losing money and get disheartened. So I would really recommend start off buying cars from private sellers. Even if you make less money, it's not all about making a big profit from day one. This is something which you're going to learn over a period of time. It's experience and knowledge. Eventually you'll be at a point where you can probably just walk around a car and within 15-20 seconds you can make a good judgment and assessment on if this is a good car to buy or not. Sounds a bit weird, but you do get a bit of a thing for it after being in the trade for such a long time. So now let's talk about the skills you're going to need for buying and selling cars. The reason why this is also a very important point is because you're dealing with people. Whether you're buying cars privately or you're selling cars, you're dealing with people. And I've said this before in a previous video, people do business with people. It's not necessarily about the product you're selling, the car you're selling. You may go to buy a car and it could be the most perfect thing you've seen. But if you don't trust the person or you feel uncomfortable and something's not right, you're going to walk away from that sale. So it's really important to build people skills, learn how to build relationships with people. Even a small thing as just smiling when you meet someone, it goes a long way. It's a much more warm, welcoming. And this business, a lot of the times, is based on first impressions. So you're meeting someone you've never met before, you know nothing about them. So it's really important to come across in a good manner and build a relationship in the short time you have with the customer, because it's going to build trust with them, it's going to build rapport with them, and they're going to feel more comfortable if they are buying a car off you. Equally, when you're buying stock from people, so if you're buying a car from a private seller, having a good relationship with them in that short time, getting to know them, being friendly, it all helps when it comes to things like negotiation. If that person likes you, feels comfortable with you, they're probably more likely to give you a bit of a deal. But if you come across, you know, very cold and not very friendly, I don't really see it helping you when you're coming to buy cars. Yes, there are some people out there in the world who probably are very, very shrewd and have that mentality, and maybe it works for them. But just from my experience, having good people skills, building relationships, it makes a massive difference when you're coming to buying and selling cars. So now we get to the final point of selling, making a profit, getting the deal done. So what I will say is, don't do a hard sell. Cars sell themselves. You just need to know what you're talking about and make your customer feel comfortable, and cars will sell. All of the points that we spoke about today all interlink into this final point of selling. If you've got a good car for sale, good service history, MOTs, you've prepped it well, valeted, etc., and priced it correctly, the car's going to sell. So what I will say is, focus on the point where I said educate yourself, because if you know the car that you're selling, it's going to make life a lot easier. And rather than doing the hard sale, what I advise is before you have a viewing, just quickly run through the paperwork, have a flick through the MOTs, service book. It's up front of mind and you're refreshed. So when your customer asks you any questions regarding the car, bang, you're ready, you're on it, you know the answers to that. It's going to help build trust because you're coming across very, very credible, and all of these things are going to make life easier when it comes to selling a car. Because if you don't know what you're talking about and you start waffling and making things up and, you know, guessing how many services the car's got, when the customer goes to check things, because you didn't get it correct, they might think you're lying. And again, all of these things are going to make your life harder when it comes to selling a car, because the moment someone feels that they're lying to you is when the trust is gone. So it's important to come across well, be honest, show them any blemishes on the car like we touched upon, because it just builds trust when you're coming to sell a car. And just focus on knowing your car, building the rapport with your customer, so when it is time for any negotiation, you're in a good position. But look guys, if you do have any specific questions, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram or just comment below. But make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram, because I'm going to be giving a car away for free once we get to 10,000 subscribers. So it's going to be a nice way for one of you to kickstart your career in buying and selling cars. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram for that. So on that note, guys, I'm going to end today's video here. I really hope it's been an insightful video and you've enjoyed the tips we've spoken about today of how to get into this business of being a car trader. So as always, thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.